Hi folks, now I'm doing this very quickly today because I'm doing it straight to my mobile phone. I did plan on doing this properly, but it's pouring outside and I'm too shattered to get my recording gear out, so very quickly into the old phone, so the quality will sound naff, but I might do a proper this later when I get a chance. But I thought it's important to update people. So the dog's in the background. If you hear that banging, it's because Millie's still got the cone on her head after the operation, and she's not very happy about it, and she's still bashing it about. So you might hear sound of plastic hitting everything, and she's trying to knock it off. Anyway, that's off subject. So as you know, she's driving me nuts. She's fed up with the cone. As you know, on Saturday we had about 5 people. I think it was like 3 men, 2 women, there might have been more, who acted rather harassing towards us and even towards people on the protest by the sounds of it. Indeed, I've had people on the protest say they're never going to go back on the protest because of these people. They felt highly intimidated. Now, I actually thought these were some sort of right-wingers trying to create problems, but we've had a lot of information about them sent forward, and it would appear these are sort of left-wing people, extremely. I mean, I'm not going to name them because that's not my sort of thing. Obviously, if they start trying to post my home address and stuff, tell with them. I'll post every detail I've got. Tech with, but I'm not. That's not my style. But anyway, the first thing was, do you remember the lady who comes up and has a go at News Now Yorkshire's trying to be sarcastic with them? Well, we've had problems with her before, and since then, turns out she's not that liked by a few people in the protest. They've had them not particularly liked, and somebody sent me a Facebook page, and you might recall I said I bet she supports everything, whatever the latest thing is, and a profile so I can't speak today, a Facebook profile page or whatever you call it, shows that. I mean, she's got this, she's sat, I don't know if it's abroad, she has this weird pose in these sort of weird red dungaree type. I think it looks like red dungarees. It's weird, where she's looking up, trying to look seductive. It doesn't. Oh, it's embarrassing, and she keeps changing it for literally everything that comes up. She changes it and just, oh God, I think she supported everything under the sun. Honestly, it's hysterical, but it proves my point. She's just somebody who isn't particularly liked and just wants to be seen to support whatever the latest thing is. Quite amusing. But yeah, I was surprised how people don't like her actually at the protest. I just thought it was just us, but anyway. So we move on to these people. Now, again, my presumption was until just recently was these were there to cause trouble, as in they were right wing. I thought there was some, oh, don't you do that, monster dog. She's trying to pull it off. She only has to have it until Thursday. Well, in theory it's fine, Wednesday, but I'm keeping it safe because the operation was Wednesday and I was told keep it on 2 weeks, this cone. So Thursday I'm just playing safe. And then, yeah, they do want to walk because it's raining, so that's why I'm trying to do this quickly before I go out. If I did this in the rain on my mic, it'd just be, you won't hear anything because of the umbrella. So these, I mean, they're strange people. Again, one of the things that's interesting is how people who, I'd argue that a lot of the modern left are now fascists. I mean, on one of the profile pages, it claims they're sort of football people against fascism. Well, they're the most fascist people going. And one of the things that's interesting, after watching News Now Yorkshire's videos and Marty's videos, it's quite clear the intentions were to try and create some trouble. They go past Marty, and on one, you can't. I don't think you can eat. You might be able to. The fat one, who looks like the one who barged into me, who looks like Uncle Fester. By the way, it didn't always look like that. On his Facebook page, only a few years ago, he actually looked different. He looked much healthier. I don't know what's gone on in his life. He looked like him. Do you remember Little Britain, where he does that Only Gay in the Village? It actually looks like him a lot more. He's got. It's changed totally. I don't know if that's because he smokes or what, but it's weird how it's changed so quickly. But anyway, Uncle Fest has a lot of people. Although some think it looks like the younger lad in it, but I think he looks more like Uncle Fester. As I say, he's changed. He comes past and calls. I think he calls Marty sweetheart, and he calls me it as well for some weird reason. I think that was the intention for us to kick off. See, a lot of it, I suspect, was intimidation, and as well, my feeling was from watching the videos and how they were acting was they were hoping we'd react, and then they'd say, "Ah ha ha, they're the thugs." Unfortunately, because we're not thuggish, and we're actually quite, we're neutral, just go filming. We don't have that fascist mindset that they clearly do. We don't think like them. And I don't think they understood that. This thuggish behaviour that is in their heads, because I don't know if they're like football hooligans or something, who think that they're on the righteous or something. But we don't think like their thuggish mindset, and therefore we wasn't going to react. And we didn't react, we just stood and wondered what the heck was going on. So they made complete fools of themselves. Ridiculous. As I say, they've come in across, and most people, again, I've had comments from people on the left and the right who just say these are fascist thugs. That's how they view. I don't think I've yet seen one single comment supporting these guys. Normally, when people have, in the past, even when they've assaulted me, sometimes they get support, saying, "Oh, you're in the wrong, you shouldn't be filmed," blah, blah. This is the first time not a single person has posted any support. Not one. And I'm reading all the comments. No one supports them. They think these are thugs. Doesn't matter what side you are political. Very far left, very far right, everyone. Because I allow all comments, as you see. I'm into freedom of speech. One of the reasons I filmed these protests is for freedom of speech. Unlike News Now Yorkshire, and I've said it myself, one of the things that we have this, which we find bizarre, is that when they're protesting, there's probably hundreds of people filming. There's the general public all filming with the camera phones. There's people on the protest filming with the camera phones or even proper gear. And there's also the press. So why they have a go at us three just because we're working class is bizarre. Now, obviously, the suggestion is that they don't like working class people because obviously they believe the middle class people. There's a hatred. That's why one of the things about these thugs who turned up, they were clearly middle class and hate the working class. They probably presume, it's very clear, one would suspect they presume that anyone working class is automatically right wing and therefore feels they can assault. That woman assaulted me and News Now Yorkshire, which was interesting. I wasn't aware of that until I saw his video. So that's, these people see us as inhuman, very inhuman. They don't see us as people. This is why these people are fascists these days. And I'd argue that... Oh, yeah, but before I go on to that, one of the blokes chats to News Now Yorkshire and says, but some people don't like being filmed. And as he said, but there's thousands of people filming you on the protest. You're incredibly thick and stupid if you go on a protest and don't think you're going to be filmed. If anyone actually says on the protest, "Oh, I don't want to be filmed," what you do is you say to them, "Oh, you're an incredibly stupid moron." By definition, you can't be anything else, because if you haven't the slightest brain cell to understand that you're walking around with banners in Leeds city centre, or any city centre to be for that matter, and you've got everybody's got a camera phone and everybody's filming you, and you think you can stop that, then you're an incredibly stupid person. And that is, there's no debate. I'm not even going to get into that. That's the simple thing. If you go, I don't want to be filmed, then you're a moron. You're a moron. Sorry. Just look in the mirror and say, oh, I'm a stupid person who shouldn't vote because I'm too thick to understand anything. I'm a thicko moron, and therefore everything I say, obviously my views don't matter because I'm too stupid. How I've survived all my life being this thick is untrue. I'm surprised I can even breathe because I'm surprised I need, you're probably the type of person who needs somebody to remind you to breathe because you're so thick. You're a thick person, right? There's no debate. I'm not even going to get into that. If you're this thick, and by the way, when you start harassing people, you make your cars look bad. It's like, when I went to York and they're acting weird, the York campsite, and in fact the Leeds campsite when we had a few, what you do is you just look mentally unwell, and it looks like you're there just well, actually we know why a lot go, because even people on the I've sussed it out who are pro-Palestine on the pro-Palestine march have even said it to me. We know why a lot of these students are there. They're not there because they support anything. They're just because it's a giggle to them. They don't take it seriously. That's why they get upset by being filmed, and they like to dress up in this cosplay outfit with their faces covered. It's just a game for them. They're doing probably more harm than good to the pro-Palestine side, but that's not my problem, is it, folks? It's just they're there. We know that's why they're there. So when you see them, especially, I mean, I'd imagine when I went that day to York, it was obvious they were there for a giggle. They didn't care less. They're there because they want to be a little sods, basically. They like to create problems. Not particularly nice people. Basically, that's why they've got the face covered, because they know that everyone's going to view them and say, oh, you're a horrible person. It doesn't matter if they're pro-Palestine or pro-Israel. They'll still be viewed as a horrible person. Anyway, so we move on. We move on, don't we, folks, to these 4 or 5 people who acted most repulsively, most disgusting. But they probably think they're on the right side of some sort of history. I mean, they're thugs, they're fascists. How they acted was no different to the British fascist party, youth there, how they acted and went around harassing people. That is what they were doing. They're no different. They're fascists. They are literally fascists. They have this fantasy they're fighting some fascism. Well, good luck to that, because the only fascists in this world are you guys. You're the fascists. You're disgusting. And you are viewed and everyone's laughing at you and they see you as just disgusting thugs. So in your head, you're probably thinking you're achieving something. What did you achieve? We weren't harassed by you. You just, you look ridiculous. I mean, I presume the woman filming me non-stop was doing it so that she could watch me later on at night when she's under the bedclothes and she's got the phone in one hand and the other hand is, doing do-do-do's. It's doing the old piano things. I think most people understand what I'm saying. And a lot of people have agreed that's what she must have been up to. But a lot of women found... I mean, I've had women say she's a creepy woman. And I says, well, there you go. I mean, again, we've got thousands between those 3. I mean, I know my videos only get... I mean, normally I only get 100 views, by the way. Or even sometimes 6 or 7 views for the protest. Have you seen how many views I've got? I've got one video. I think it's on 4,000 views. Thank you very much, by the way, you thick morons. You're thick, you're stupid, aren't you? You're this thick that you're thinking that it actually was going to affect us. Yeah, it gave us views. We'd have had no views that day. What do you think? Do you think, Fat Boy there, and yes, I've seen what he's done in the past. He's not a particularly nice person. By the way, people contact me who know them and say they're not nice people. I mean, one of them, apparently works for the NHS. Now, that's an interesting one. By the way, I've said it before. I used to be an NHS student nurse. So you've just, Fat Boy assaulted a nurse, basically. Very nice. You're going to go around well. And by the way, just to remind you, folks, I've got a lot of friends who are nurses and work in the NHS who actually are fuming what you did. They think you're the most anti-NHS person going, but that's up to, you've come across foolish. But when we talk about, now I don't know if this person in the NHS was a nurse. I think there's, I think from what I gather, he works in the he works in mental health or something, but I don't know if it's as a nurse. But you see, the difference between him and me is I always, and I still to this day, I'd argue I'm more professional. When we were student nurses, we were told to treat everyone with decency. It doesn't matter who they were. They could have been, they could have massacred 1 million people, or there could be a saint. You treat them equally. That's how you'd expect. That person, in my opinion, how he acted should be instantly fired. There's no question about it. Because by harassing us, he treated us, he viewed us as scum. Well, the point is that if I was to go into the NHS, say I had if it is mental health he deals with, suppose I've got mental health, you can't be, he won't be treating me the same as somebody else. Well, because he hasn't done. He hasn't treated me like that in public. Decency. So, how does his patients, if I was one of his patients, which I presume people will be patients of his, past or present, and they'll now question, have they been treated differently because if they have different views to him? I mean, it's unbelievable. I mean, I actually am shocked if this person is in the NHS because you'd be humiliated. But again, that's the difference. I have to, I know I'm not a student nurse now, but I have a belief that you still treat people equal, and I always do. That's why I don't care. I mean, oh, by the way, let me just remind y'all, when it comes to these pro-Palestine protests, I do this neutral. If I'm being really honest, I don't give a hoot one way or other, like most people in this country. Most people in this country don't care about it. I'm sorry to say. That sounds an awful thing, but they've got the things in their own life to get on with. I don't think I've ever met anybody except on the protest who actually talk about this pro-Palestine. They've got other things to deal with. It's not in their mindset. So, it's like when people go along and they're thinking, I'm one way or other. Seriously, I don't care. I'm sorry to say that I don't, because I've got other things at issue. I mean, at the moment, my big issue is I'm making sure Millie gets better. Well, she is better. But honestly, I could be. I mean, that's why I'm neutral. I have no emotion to it. But then again, am I any different to a lot of these, socialists that go on the protest? They don't care. They turn up, most of them, just to. They turn up for anything. And if you listen to some of my films, some of them said that they've been told. They get an email and say turn up, and they've actually. I had one guy who admitted this. He says he turns up, and he just turns up to anything. He just gets an email, doesn't even know what it's about. And that's what a lot of these so I'm no different to them in that regards. That I'm neutral. They're neutral. Most of them, they don't care. You think they, do you think you have it? If you look, most of these socialists don't care. We know they don't. They've no emotion to it. It's not. It's just something to show their friends. Say, look, I turned up. Aren't I a nice person? They're fake. Again, this is why I talked about that woman at the beginning of this, where on her profile, on her Facebook page, you see she just supports anything and everything that's fashionable that pops up. And that's, it's been going on quite a while. It's almost a standard thing now. It's laughable. They've become, cartoons of themselves, a lot of these socialists. But as for this fascist thing, the left have adopted it. I mean, like I said, if you was to class me as anything, you probably class me as slightly soft left. I'm vegetarian, try to be vegan, into animal rights, into the environment, blah, blah, blah. But I back away from this sort of hard left thing. It's never, this fascist ideology where, they acted in fascist ways. And by the way, if you actually look at fascism, it has a lot to do with left-wing, beliefs. I mean, even Oswald Mosley was a Labour MP. You can see, whenever you look at fascism, there's a lot of left-wing connections. I mean, anyway, but yeah, you notice in today's times, one of the things I've noticed is that the people who are thugs now move towards being left wing. It's what they do. Um, that seems to be where the thugs go to. It really does. I mean, it's like both in England and America. You see the people who are causing the hassle, the people who are threatening, the people like like in some of you see them in. I think Charlie Veitch had them following him in that campsite in Manchester. This abusive way. That's fascism. That's thuggery. That's not protesting. You know, it's not protesting when you cover your face and follow people about and stare at them. I mean, it's like that woman where, where you see him walking around following you in this weird way, zombified. It's weird. That's fascism. That's thuggery. That's not protesting. I mean, again, when we're on the protest, see, there are people, and this is why I always say I try and my belief is that I'll be decent and say the honest things, and the people on the pro-Palestine protest who believe in it, they've got connection to Palestine. They're either Muslim or they have family from Palestine or they were from Palestine. When you talk to them, they genuinely believe in it. But there's also people who go along who generally just go along because they want to have their face shown. And they walk around like... It's a bit like... if you look at some of the videos, you can see some of these special... And they're usually white middle-class women. They walk around looking like zombies. Their eyes are vacant. It's very strange. They just walk like zombies. They have no emotion. They have no thought. They're ordered around. It's like that woman who was talking to me. She was filming me, or appeared to be filming me. And I was telling her the channel name. And she sort of had a bit of a blank look. But instantly, before I knew it, another woman grabbed her as if she was a 2-year-old and forcibly pushed her away from me, telling her off. And she went with it. Now, a normal person wouldn't do that. You can see how lacking they are in intelligence or anything. Because if you watch News Now Yorkshire video, a woman tries that tactic with them. Some kids were talking to News... no, it might be Marty, actually. I think it was Marty's channel. Yeah, it was, sorry. He gave them one of the kids a keeving. I'd say they're about, 14 years of age. I'm terrible in their ages. And this woman came up and said, don't go on his channel. He's a fascist or something. And they just stared at, because unlike she's not, and I think Marty said get lost, and she walked back humiliated because she wasn't intelligent enough to understand that normal people aren't going to be ordered around. Those kids, those 2 lads, had far more intelligence about them than these protesters who go walking like zombies who get ordered about. It's the huge difference is there. And in fact, I think it was last week when 2 Muslim lads were from Bradford. They were lovely lads. I call them the silent majority because, most of these lads are decent. It's just on the news you see the nutters who seem to represent everyone. And they don't represent. The minority. The decent Muslims are the silent majority, sadly. There's thousands and thousands of decent... And even on the protest... we get on with most of the people there, the decent people. Even if you agree or disagree with what they believe in, I'll give you it's like one of them's, you might have seen him, is a nice lad. He's become a councillor of Bradford as an independent. Isn't that a really nice lad? I mean, he's done well, and I keep saying, he's done well to say he's done it as an independent. But again, I think a lot of people will like him because he's generally a nice lad. When you're around him, you feel, it makes you feel nice to be around. If that doesn't sound weird to say. But again, when you see some of these socialists getting ordered about, don't talk to don't talk to this person, don't do this, don't do that, you can see they've got no intelligence. They're lacking anything. They're lacking any thought. They just want to obey orders, and they will do. I mean, it's what's interesting from my observation of these is how easy some people can be ordered and controlled, just because they think it's makes them look good. Very easy to control people, really is. And you can see how a lot of people, you can see one of the things about the left wing is you can see people who aren't very bright go to it because they think it's going to make them look smart, and yet they just walk around like zombies looking brain dead. But as I say, I'm just going to leave it there. It's just a quick chat, a quick update. And they were horrible people. Good luck on fighting me if you think I'm a fascist. You're an idiot. You're absolute thicko, really. And again, there's no way you could accuse Marty or News Now Yorkshire of being fascist. My goodness, you've got to be a bit stupid. They're just normal lads. But you know what it is they're like me, working class. So these left-wing middle-class people who cosplay at working class, I always tell you they're working class, they're not. They're middle class. If you work for the NHS, you're middle class, by the way. You're not working class. They view all they view the working class as right wing and fascist and all this rubbish because they're prejudiced. But again, what concerns me is this person works for the NHS, and that's his view of other people. That's how he treats them. That's disturbing. And again, I feel sorry for his patients, past and present and future, because you wouldn't be able to. You'll never ever be able to trust this guy to give you the care, because you don't. He obviously is a prejudiced person. That's again one of the good things is, if you say a good thing, is that they've exposed themselves to be how prejudiced they are. They probably walk around telling everyone they're wonderful, nice people. Ka-ching, you've just exposed yourself. Every one of those horrible people expose themselves to be nasty and evil. Absolutely. But there we have it, folks. I mean, the good thing is the videos will be getting thousands. I mean, especially Marty's and News Now Yorkshire. I mean, let's hope between them that gets, maybe 1 million views. Let's hope so. Let's, go on their channel and go on mine as well if you can be that kind enough. Go on, and the videos of these horrible people. Can you press the heart button and follow me and make a comment? If you can do that, it'll push the videos forward. And do that on Marty's and News Now Yorkshire's. Please do that. Everybody who watches these videos, please press the heart thing where it says heart. Make a comment, even if it's just nice vid or something. It doesn't have to be anything. Just make a comment and make sure you follow us all. Do that, and these people will be exposed more and more. There's no, I'm fed up of these fascist people trying to run the world, ruin everything. They're fascists. They're disgusting people. Trying to cancel people, trying to block, trying to, that's the difference. I'm here, actually. I mean, by the way, they don't speak for most of the protesters, because I keep saying it. Most of the protesters actually thank me for putting the videos out, because I put them out in full, letting people hear the full speech. That's freedom of speech. And these people are that thick, that stupid. I mean, they've got the thickos. These thickos who walked around trying to stop us are so thick and stupid that they're stopping the message getting out. Their message. Doesn't mean I support or I'm against anything. I'm neutral. I've said it. Don't care. Doesn't interest me. I'm just turning up to film. I have no emotion towards this. So, if you was to ask me, again, I'll repeat, I don't care about it. It doesn't interest me. I'm not interested because I've got no emotion to one side or other. Again, if you're from Palestine, I can understand. Or if you're Muslim, I understand you can, support the pro-Palestine side. If you're Jewish or have relatives from Israel, then, you're going to be more sensitive towards that side. I mean, if you think this protest is going to do anything, I don't think the general public give a rat's ass. I mean, I think it's just a case of you're walking up and down Leeds once a week and it doesn't achieve anything. Like most protests. I mean, I don't think protests do anything these days. There's 1 or 2 every week. No one cares less. You know, it's like and I've said it before, I'm very pro-environment, but I think they just stop oil people are moronic and doing more harm and turning people off. You know, and I get really sick of them because, you know, and I do think they are stopping people going to hospital and things. We'll let the ambulances through. How do you know I'm not taking a sick child or a sick relative to hospital and they'll die if I do, or even a pet to the vets? These people are sick and disgusting, but it's about them. And a lot of these people, it's about them. It's not about what they're protesting about. It's about them. They're making it about themselves. It's, you know, I think somebody made a comment. I wish I'd remembered what it was. It was something like, my name is X. I don't know what I'm talking about, or I'm not interested in the cars. I just want to have the attention. I think that was the point. It was just about making attention for themselves. And a lot of the times that's what the impression is. It's just about making the impression. But again, these 4 or 5 people have probably done more harm than anything to this pro-Palestine protest, because people will be seeing that and saying these are thugs, and you know, whatever in their mindset. I mean, this is why I actually thought they were sort of a counter. I thought they were the anti-group. And I still do wonder if they are, because the aim appeared to be, if I was going to say, if they did anything successful on that day, well, they did 2 things. They gave us all a lot of views and support on our YouTube channels, but they also did a huge harm to the pro-Palestine protest marches, a huge harm, to the point that a lot of people have told me they felt threatened by them who were on the pro-Palestine march and will never go back, and were disgusted. Absolutely disgusting what they did. Because unfortunately for these thickos, they don't realise that there's quite a few people on the protests who are actually supporters. And in fact, if you watch, I think it was Marty's and New Now Yorkshire's video, you had protesters coming up to them saying, we thank it, you know, they were thanking him for filming. They were and they were getting on. And you'll see that. They come up, I think normally they come up to me. I can't remember if they did that day. But you'll see this on all the videos. We have the protesters thanking us from both sides. We have people on the pro-Palestine and the pro-Israel side, because we're basically neutral and just record it. And they thank us for it. But these thickos think, because they're so stupid and so full of hate, they presume that they speak for everyone. They've got it in their head that they're superior. This is why, you know, we can see how the fascists like that. They, you know, these white, and they were all white, weren't they, folks? These 5 people. They thought that they were superior. You know what they're thinking. They're the superior race. That's what they thought. They thought they're superior race, and all these Muslims are too thick and stupid to speak for themselves. So they're doing it for them. That's how they saw it. How disgusting. They're the racists. They didn't believe that the pro-Palestine people could actually thank us for filming, because they're so racist, these people. That's how they view other people. They just see everyone as inferior to them. Disgusting people. Absolutely shameful. Absolutely. How they acted, I'd have been humiliated. I mean, it makes you wonder, do they do this a lot? Do they do this all the time? I mean, how many other people do they assault? I mean, the guy, obviously, I mean, this is going back to it. The guy from the NHS, presumably it was one of his friends assaulting me, didn't stick up, didn't say that's wrong. So clearly, you know, it makes you realise that this guy could be very dangerous. I'd be very concerned if I was one of his patients. Be very concerned. But, you know, God, just note to self, don't, you know, one of the things is I'll never now knowingly get, if I've ever, I'll try and avoid the NHS as much as possible. I'd rather die, so I don't think I'll be safe. I don't feel safe now in the NHS. In fact, I don't actually. And I'm not sure if you dear listeners, will feel safe going to the NHS knowing people like this must exist in it. Because how do you know they're going to treat you? Are they going to look up your details, say, "Oh, I don't agree with your politics, so I'm going to treat you badly"? Is that the attitude? Absolutely shameful. Anyway, there we go, folks. It's probably not as quick as I was expecting, but I think it was worth me a little chat there. Bye.